Hi, this is Cindy and Destiny with the Keep It Real podcast. And today we're so excited to be here with the one and only Rika Wildlee. Hey, Rika, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. Finally, I get to grace the screens of the Keep It Real podcast. I've been looking forward to it for a while, and now I am here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're excited. We're glad to have you. Do you want to tell people a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Yes, I am the barker of the Bizzare. I am one of the best, brightest, and most awesome characters in professional wrestling that you have ever seen. Grace the squared circle. I am glad to be on your screens today, getting to tell you a little bit about what the carnival has to offer each and every wrestling fan in existence. So thank you once again for having me, and I am ready to make all of you just as amazed as I am to be here.
Again, Destiny, do you have any questions before we get into the other one? This one's a little bit shy. You'll see that. So what made Rika? What made you want to start wrestling?
Well, the thing about it is, I've been wanting to be a professional wrestler since I was 8 years old. And it took me till I was 30 to actually go put myself through the academy and get my license to become a professional wrestler and be able to grace the screens with the character that you see now. But what made the Barker? Simple as this. I've seen thousands of different characters come across the screen of the professional wrestling world. Like I said, for years and years, I was a fan. And I've seen so many dark, let's just say Undertaker-esque style characters, dark, demonic, evil, and heelish characters. But one thing I hadn't seen was one that was over the top, brighter than can be. And that is what I wanted to see as a kid. Therefore, I decided to bring it to each and every fan out there with what you see now. So what made the Barker? Is I was a fan and I knew what I wanted to see. Therefore, I knew just what to give each and every person sitting in the audience. That's basically the gist of it.
I know we've been watching videos of you because we've never got to see you live. And it's just like, man, and I'm not saying just on the independent circuit, because the independent circuit is amazing. That's why we do what we do. But
yes.
Have you gone beyond that?
Well, the thing about it is I've had a few opportunities to get on a bigger scale, not like AEW or WWE, scale that high yet. I'm right. Saying yet because I see it in the future. But the biggest stage that I have had the honor and the privilege to grace would be JCW at the Gathering of the Juggalos. I wrestled for ICP, and it was amazing to be in the 30-man battle royal at the Gathering of the Juggalos in front of 16 or 17,000 people. And that, I've always been one that has been drawn to that style of music and things like that. So to be able to wrestle at an event such as that has been like top on my resume. I'll always hold that near and dear to my heart. So
that's amazing. I mean, to just be in the same arena as ICP.
Yes, I mean, I stayed 4 days. I done the tryouts. There was multiple people that tried out for this event, and there was like 60 people that tried out, and they only chose 30. And they put us in a battle royal together, and it was just an amazing experience to be able to achieve that dream of wrestling for JCW at Bloody Mania at the Gathering of the Juggalos, and just mind-blowing as a fan, as a performer, as an entertainer, just something I'll hold for the rest of my life as an achievement,
I'm sure. Something else, my son, he's infatuated by you now.
Well, that's great. That's great. Yeah, that's why I enjoy doing what I do, because like I've said on many podcasts before, it doesn't matter if I come out and I have the most amazing match in the world, or I have a mediocre match or whatever. The kids, the fans, they're going to be talking about after they leave the show, that guy with the lights. They may not even know my name, but they're going to be talking about that guy with the lights. And that's what I'm saying. That's the memory that I want to drill into people's heads. They may not even know who I am, but they're always going to remember how bright I can be.
Yeah, that's right. Do you consider yourself a face or a heel?
I am a face. I am a face. Contrary to popular belief, I am a face. You know, the mask kind of throws it off a bit because a lot of people don't like clowns. Clowns are weird. They're odd. But that's why I consider myself the Barker and not Rika the Clown. I'm the Barker of the Bizzare. I'm a carnival Barker of sorts.
Yeah.
Come on, come all. Step right up. Come and see the most amazing and wonderful things that you have ever seen. That is my gimmick. That is what I am here to do. I am here to draw you in so you can have the most amazing time sitting in that front row, watching me do what I do.
I know we love it. I know I already told you that, but we love it. And I thought you were a face, but I wasn't sure.
Well, the thing is they, when I first became a professional wrestler, and the first couple of shows, they tried pushing me as a heel, but the lights were too bright and the kids loved it too much. The kids come up and they were just entranced by the lights and all of that. And I just couldn't be mean to a kid. I am that kid. I am that fan. I was that kid. So growing up, being who I am and being the fan that I am outside of being this gimmick, I saw that the kids running up and all of that, and I was like, you know what? I dig them too much and they dig me too much to be a heel character. So once that started rolling and I became a face, it just took off from there. So
it seems like you're very successful at it.
I just enjoy being able to give back, because like I said, I see those kids as I was when I was a kid. I wish I would have had somebody local to look up to in the professional wrestling world, and to be able to, inspire others to join the professional wrestling profession, because as a kid, I'm from a small town. There was no wrestlers around here, and everybody that liked wrestling was considered childish. They was considered, far-fetched dreamers and this, that, and the other. And it was drop that dream, get a real job, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you know what? I can't live for you and you can't live for me. Therefore, I'm going to chase my dream, and I'm going to sit there and watch me achieve my dream. Now, these same folks that told me to grow up, told me to get a real job, told me that it would never happen, are the same ones coming to my merchandise table telling me how proud they are of me and where they can get a t-shirt and an autograph and all of this. And my only comment in response to that is, thank you, because you pushed me to do this, whether you realize it or not.
That's right. That's right. People that tell you that you can't, all your haters, they are a tool to push.
I'm all about inspiring others, and that's all it amounts to. They can hate on me all they want to, but the fact is they've never sat quiet. Whether they hate me or whether they cheer me, they never sat quiet. They always knew I was there, and that's all I am about as an entertainer. I don't care if it's good guys, bad guys, people booing me or people cheering me. The fact is you're making noise, and that's all I want.
Yeah. Yeah. We saw something interesting too. The list that was going around Facebook of people to watch, that you made that list.
Yes. That blew my mind. Don't get me wrong. For the fact of, like I said, I'm just an independent wrestler on his way up, trying to make a mark in the wrestling world. And I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I've been busting my butt trying to, do what I got to do to really set myself aside from 95% of the other professional wrestlers. And the fact that list was shown up on my Facebook feed and I was tagged in it and all of that, and I made the top 100 of that list at number 96. my mind was just blown. Don't get me wrong. I sent it to my mom. I sent it to my dad. I was just like, but I am forever honored to even be considered among the top talent on that list. There are some amazing people on that list that I'll one day hopefully get to share the ring with. But I'm just glad that people consider me someone to watch as an up and coming artist,
Yeah, when I saw you on that list, I was like, "Oh, that's so awesome!" And we get to interview him. We were very excited, and we're so happy for you. So happy for you.
Well, I really appreciate it.
What area are you in? Do you wrestle in most?
Well, right now I am in Louisiana. I wrestle usually around Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, those 4 states in particular. But I mean, I do have a show coming up that I'm going to open up a new state in, Outlaw Wrestling Society in Mount Vernon, Alabama. It's going to be a new state for me, but I'm looking forward to making that show and making all kinds of amazing fans as I tread on to the East Coast. It's going to be an amazing event. February 24th. If anybody is going to be around that area, by all means, come and say hey to the Barker.
Yes, check him out. Check him, and we can't wait. Hopefully, you'll end up even farther to the east.
Yes, I'm always looking to branch out to states and places that I have never been, because the more, the merrier. And that's why I enjoy doing these podcasts. I done a podcast from Denmark yesterday. I mean, becoming international, becoming one that they see on all different platforms and all different screens and different states and different places. And that is what I am about, because it is publicity that some may never even get to experience. I am the Barker, and I want them to enjoy everything that I've got to offer.
Yes, absolutely. When did you? I know you said you've been doing this for how long?
Almost 4 years now.
4 years.
Professionally, that is. Professionally.
Gosh, only 4 years and you've gotten this far. Imagine what another 4 years are going to do.
Well, like I said, I started when I was 30. I'm 34 now. Another 4 years. Let's just hold our breath on that. I'm going to push as hard as I can, as fast as I can. But, the professional wrestling world can be pretty brutal at times. So I'm just hoping that my old body can withstand the beatings that I take on a regular basis.
Well, we'll believe you can do it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Who were some of your influences?
Well, growing up, I always enjoyed the high flyers. I've always enjoyed the ones that showed acrobatics before acrobatics was in every single match that you see nowadays. People like Rey Mysterio, people like Eddie Guerrero, Jeff Hardy, RVD, so on and so forth, Billy Kidman, all kinds of people that were doing the athletic maneuvers that you see every single day on wrestling nowadays. Back then, it was really something that you look forward to because nobody was doing it. And the ones that were doing it set themselves aside from every single other wrestler, because you knew when their music hit and they come out to wrestle that you were going to see something special. Nowadays, as much as I love professional wrestling, it has become kind of mediocre to me, because every match has those crazy, outlandish, oh my God moments. And as awesome as they are, it really takes away from the awe factor. It takes away from the that never happens. I never get to see that, because now every single match has those same moments. So back then, those were my inspirations. Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, RVD, Jeff Hardy, those type of people.
Oh, we still love Jeff Hardy.
Yes. I would love to meet him one day. Even if we never get to share the ring, I would just still love to meet him face to face.
Yeah, me too. We've got an opportunity. We get to go. He's going to be in our area coming up in the next, when is it, the 23rd or the 24th? the 23rd, and we're hoping.
Oh, that would be
That
awesome. I really
opportunity.
hope y'all get to go. Definitely.
Me too. Who do you like to watch now, if any? Like, who are
Well,
some of your favorites
to
right
be
now?
honest, I like to watch a lot of old school matches. I don't keep up with wrestling, modern day wrestling as much as I should, strictly because I just it doesn't captivate me as much as the independents do. There are some independent wrestlers that I do keep up with that I would love to share the ring with, as far as AEW talent or WWE talent or TNA talent, something like that. I don't really watch them as much as I used to. But as far as the independents go, there's people like Sam Stackhouse, Draven Lee, and there's countless other names in the independent world that I would love to face one on one, just because I know from curtain to curtain we would have a banger of a match, regardless of the stipulations.
Speaking of independent, hey, Omen Black. He said, "Good evening, ladies, and good sir. Good evening, Omen. How are you?"
Good evening, sir.
And Nick Morningstar. Good evening, Nick.
Good evening.
Now we know Nick pretty well. He's a really good guy. Yeah, he actually helps with Destiny. Destiny is training right now to be a wrestler.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, she has her first match coming up on the 24th.
It's going to be awesome. Trust me. Once you get a little taste of that adrenaline, you'll never look back.
So, if someone's looking for your merch, how would somebody?
Well, you can either A, message me personally on Facebook, because I have one of my best friends from, I'd say from when I was a kid. He does most of my merchandise as far as my t-shirts and things like that. He has all kinds of little knickknacks, Rika Wildlee stickers and posters and all that kind of stuff. So you can contact me personally and I can get you whatever you need. Or you can go look on Pro Wrestling Tees. I do have a store on there with multiple different versions of different Rika Wildlee t-shirts, and you can get them on there. So either way it goes, you can get just what you need to represent the Barker wherever you are.
We'll have to look into that and get some ourselves.
Hey,
Represent
just
your
message anytime. I can shoot you some designs. I can shoot you some different t-shirts and things. You just let me know and we'll make it happen.
All right. Definitely. Nick, listen to him. He's saying, "Shh, I'm not that good." Yes, you are. Quit it. Don't talk negative about yourself. Then, do y'all got any questions for Rika? I'm sure he'd love to answer them.
Yes, I would love to.
Owen says he's getting ready to defend his hardcore title against the pathetic Hugh Damien Saint and then taking a trip to the UK.
That's awesome. That is on the go for old Rika Wildlee. I would love to go international, whether it be Canada, the UK, Denmark, perhaps, anywhere, really. I would love to just travel overseas or outside the United States just to broaden my horizon, per se. You know, I think it would be awesome. So much talent across the world.
Yes, there is. I would love. I'll say it again. I'd love for you to be in this area so we could get a chance to see you live.
Oh, definitely. I'm trying my best to spread my wings and go different places and do different things. Like I said, I'm opening up a new state this month, Alabama. So I've been to Ohio, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, and now Alabama. So slowly but surely, I'm spreading out further and further.
Who was it again? What was the promotion that you said you're mostly working for right now?
Well, the promotion that I currently work for locally is called United Wrestling Entertainment, and they're out of Central Louisiana. That is where I'm based out of. predominantly is out of Central Louisiana. So UWE, they also have the Wrestling Academy that I graduated from. They have all the shows locally around here. So United Wrestling Entertainment. But I also go all, like I said, I go all over and I wrestle for all kinds of different companies. I wrestled for 11 different federations last year.
Oh,
So,
wow.
anywhere that I can get booked, I'm working.
Yeah. So you're staying busy. How do you balance that busy in your home life?
Let's just say my weekends are spoken for. I don't know. My son will be 17 this year.
Oh.
And having a kid that old that he can kind of do his own thing now, and my wife supports me 110%, no matter, she didn't really understand it at first, but now that she sees how driven and how really set in my soul I am about professional wrestling, because she was not a wrestling fan in the least bit before we got together. She knew like two wrestlers and that was it. So total opposite side of the spectrum. But as she's seen my dream come to reality and slowly build upon this gimmick that you see before you, she's kind of became accustomed to supporting me and handling whatever I ask of her, because she knows how much it means to me and how passionate I am about building this legacy that I am piece by piece. And I'm just so blessed to have somebody in my corner like that. So I can't say enough.
That's amazing to have a good support system. Yeah,
for sure.
Because in anything, not just wrestling, but in anything, if you don't have a good support system behind you, it makes it so much harder. So much harder.
It does. And the thing is when we first got together, my wife's biggest fear is clowns. So, so yeah, that became kind of a learning curve per se, with her, because she's like, out of all the things you could do, you want to do a clown, really? I'm like, but it's gonna work. I promise, it's gonna work. It's people are gonna love it, and it's just gonna be awesome. And she's like, look, as long as you're not around me doing it. And then over time, she's just kind of, it's gotten used to it and stuff like that. But at first, she was not on board with the gimmick at all.
Oh gosh, I can imagine. Oh, honey, I'm gonna be a clown for a living. You get the
Yeah, pretty much. She's like, really now? I'm like, yeah, here's the idea I've got going. And she's like, look, you can be a clown in the ring and in that bedroom over there, but I don't want to see it in the rest of the house. Like, if you want to cut a promo, you go in that dark room over there.
It hasn't grown on her even just a little bit.
Yes, as long as I'm not just, because she records all my matches for me. She helps with merchandise, and she runs my merch table sometimes and things like that. But it's just, she's become more used to it than grown on her. She still don't like clowns. She's still not a fan. But she's just like, that's my husband, and I'm gonna support him in whatever he decides to do. So it's just became, she's okay with it. I'm not gonna say she loves it. I'm just gonna say she's okay with it.
Oh, it probably helps. She knows who's behind the mask too.
That's very true. That's very true.
So, talking about, I know you said that you don't watch a lot of pro wrestling right now, but
right.
I know you talked about Eddie Guerrero and Jeff Hardy. Would you say that they were your, I'll say, go ahead and say Mount Rushmore then? The ones that you mentioned?
Yes. See, that's the thing. I've been asked that before, if I had to pick a Mount Rushmore, and that's so hard. That's so hard because I can't pick a Mount Rushmore based on pure talent, because there's so many wrestlers out there that has brought so much different ideas and different ways of doing stuff. Like I could do old school. I could do a Ric Flair, style. I could do Dusty Rhodes. I could do, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I could do all of those style wrestlers in their own Mount Rushmore, and then I could do a high flying Rushmore, but I couldn't do just 4. I couldn't pick just a single Mount Rushmore of 4 wrestlers I couldn't do that. In my heart, I can't pick. That's like asking me my favorite movie. It's not going to happen. I don't know.
Yeah, it is difficult to do a Mount Rushmore because, I mean, with me, I don't know about other people, but with me, it'll change periodically. Like I always have
Right.
absolute
That's
favorites, but it'll vary. Like I've always got Ric Flair, always. Like Ric Flair and Tommy Rich are always 2 that will forever be there. But as far as others go, like Seth Rollins, he's on there, and then there's a few others, but it'll change sometimes. And I'll be like, oh gosh, that wasn't the same thing I said last time.
See, that's the thing though. That's the thing though, is like asking someone to pick a Mount Rushmore is like asking them to define what makes wrestling wrestling.
Mm.
There's so many different characters that bring so many different things to the table that you can't pick just 4 that say this character here, this wrestler here defines what wrestling is. Because just like Eddie Guerrero, lie, cheat, steal, high flying, but still had technical ability, in ways, there's no reason he shouldn't be up there. But then you got people that promo ability. Let's say Ric Flair, let's say The Rock. There's so many different avenues of what makes a wrestler a professional wrestler. And to just pick 4 is extremely difficult.
Yeah, I see that. And it's a bit unfair to them too.
I mean,
yes.
Not that there's so many that deserve it though. That's just hands down. There's so many that deserve it.
So with you liking to do an original character and everything, and we were talking about gimmicks and stuff. How do you feel about we both loved him, Bray Wyatt and The Fiend?
Oh my, in the past 20 years, Bray Wyatt has been my favorite wrestler, inspiration, even though I wish we would have had him longer. And I don't mean to sound, he's gone too soon, and that's just hands down. We didn't get to see the full extent of his potential because he still had so much more to do. But seeing him from the Wyatt family and those vignettes and those promos that he was dropping as the Bray Wyatt cult leader, from the swamp of Louisiana and all that, I have never, since the Undertaker's promos in the mid-90s, I had never been more drawn to a character. And to an extent, I take my promo skills from those promos from Bray Wyatt. Because the man was magic. He was walking, talking magic. Everything he said, everything he done. And to see him come from Husky Harris to Bray Wyatt, complete mind blown. Just, there's nobody that's going to be able to touch him, in my opinion, as far as if Undertaker, that we know and love, felt comfortable passing the torch onto this man, then there's no reason that anybody in the professional wrestling world or fans or whoever can deny this man's ability. Period. And the fact that he's gone so early breaks my heart, because he's one that I wish I could have at least just met.
Yes.
And it's just kills me. But yes, he is I'll always be inspired by everything that Bray Wyatt done. Everything, start to finish.
Yeah, he was an absolute genius. And he did, I agree, he changed wrestling forever. Yeah, I mean,
I agree completely. 110%.
I believe that he will be one of those that people 15 years from now will look back on him, and see what he
You
did.
know, you know, you know what really got me? Just like I said, I don't watch much wrestling anymore. Why? Because there's not, in my personal opinion, the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is because I've always enjoyed characters in wrestling, not just guys in tights coming out with a Joe Blow name and they wrestle and then they go back behind the curtain. That captivates me none. That gives me nothing. But if I see a character like Bray Wyatt, like The Undertaker, like Kane, like Mankind, if I see a character that I can get behind, that I need to know every time I see him, I need to know more. I need to understand why this guy is the reason he is. I need to understand his backstory. I need to understand what made him who he is. That right there makes a wrestling fan whole. And when Bray Wyatt showed up as Bray Wyatt in the Wyatt family, I felt like that kid again. I felt that nostalgia that I grew up on in the 90s, watching all these amazing characters and needing to understand why they are the way they are. Whether it be a dark character, a bright character, whoever, Bray Wyatt brought that back. And that is why I'll forever love that man for everything that he has brought to the professional wrestling world, because he explained what I felt in my heart and never knew how to explain. So, top, matter of fact, he's on my Mount Rushmore, hands down, period, forever. That is, I don't care who else is on there, Bray Wyatt is there.
Yeah.
Because he done all 360 all the way around, promo ability, wrestling ability, storytelling ability. He is professional wrestling. Period.
Yeah.
That's all it is to it.
Yeah, it was such a loss, but the great thing is now we have so much that we can look back on.
Facts.
So much video and stuff to where his memory will never be gone. And everybody can continue to learn through him. And like
I agree.
And Destiny, he was Destiny's favorite for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. He explained, he showed what wrestling is supposed to be about, in the ring and out of the ring.
But Nick said, agreed. That's what I'm trying to achieve personally as well, and that's difficult work to achieve.
It really is, and not only to come out with something different, something that is a little left to center that not all are supposed to understand, but over time they will fall behind it. They will get what you're trying to explain piece by piece. That is what I think every wrestler should try to do, strictly because wrestling is a puzzle. Wrestling is a puzzle, and all the pieces don't fit. There's some pieces that they try to force to fit, and it doesn't work. But then there's some that just fall in place like they were meant to be there from the start. And that is what a wrestler should do. When you go, a fan that has never watched wrestling before, that has never seen a match, gets took to their first show, and they see a wrestler that they instantly, without knowing anything about them, fall in love with, that right there is what it means to be a professional wrestler. You don't have to explain anything. They can feel it. They can see it. They can sense it before you even do the first move, because they see that passion through you. And now they'll forever be a fan because they see what you see. They see what you are. You explain wrestling to them without ever speaking a word. That is what it means to be an entertainer. That is what it means to become immortal in the professional wrestling world. Because they're going to tell the next one, and the next one's going to tell the next one. And before you know it, you've got an entire fan base built on what one person saw. And that's the magic of wrestling. Period.
And I can say with confidence that you're achieving that, just from watching you here and watching you just through YouTube. Because, I mean, I'm not trying to sound weird or anything, but you are captivating. People want to listen to you. People want to watch you. The first time we saw you, we were like, who is this? And then we started looking you up and researching and trying to, see more about you. Because you are, like we were talking about, Bray, you are original. You're not a copycat.
Well,
you're not, you're
it's one of those things, I really appreciate those kind words. And like I said, at heart, I'll always be a fan first. I've always been a fan of professional wrestling, and people see how, over the top I am about how much I love this business. I don't steer away from that. I'll tell anybody under the sun, the reason I am who I am and what you see now is because I am a fan of professional wrestling. I've always wanted to be this since I was a kid. I said it earlier, since I was a kid, I've talked to my parents. I've talked to my counselors at school. I've talked to my teachers at school. I've talked to my friends. And even through my teenage years, when my friends were, outgrowing the wrestling and all that kind of stuff, I was like, look, this is what I want to do. Y'all don't understand, but this is what I want to do. And as I got older, and I thought it was a little far-fetched myself as I got through my 20s, and I was like, I'm getting a little older now. I don't know if it's going to be a thing. And then, me and my wife met, and we were sitting in Cancun, Mexico on our honeymoon. And I had a couple of friends message me about a wrestling school that opened up locally. And I thought to myself, and I asked my wife, I was like, well, what do you think of me really trying to chase this dream? Like, really giving it a shot, because I will kick myself in the butt for the rest of my life if I don't at least try, and I come up with the gimmick. I went through all kinds of different wrestlers, and I looked at all the history of the different wrestlers and things like that. And the only thing that stuck out to me is professional wrestling started at the carnival. What we know and love as wrestling, as entertainment, started as a sideshow attraction. So why not bring it back to where it all started and take it back home? So that's where the Barker of the Bizzare come from. And I put on the bright lights as the carnival does, and I took wrestling back to the forefront to where everybody needs to understand history has a way of repeating itself. No matter what, every single time, history repeats itself. And a lot of new wrestling fans have forgotten where the bright lights started, where the entertainment value to the matches that we know and love started. It all started at the carnival. So that is how I became who I am and how the Barker got his start and the gimmick was born. That's all it is to it.
Wow. That's so good. That's really good. Do you think that that's important for people that are getting into wrestling, is to have a love of wrestling as a fan first?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Don't get me wrong. There are some that, they, like I said earlier, they just see a match and all of a sudden they're just captivated. They don't know nothing about wrestling. They know nothing about nothing. And all of a sudden they see something and they're drawn to it. The only way I can portray it like this is it's like hearing a song you've never heard before, but instantly you could hear the first couple of notes and instantly it speaks to your soul. Not to your heart. It speaks to your soul. It does something to your body, to your mind, to your heart that you can't explain. And there's no way to put words to it, honestly. It's just one of those things that you have to live to understand. And as a wrestling fan, that's what we do. Wrestling fans live vicariously through the entertainers that they see at live events and on screen. And all of that kind of stuff. And that is what it means to long-term tell stories and give back to the fans that we know and love, and teach them that wrestling can be more than just a 5 or 10 minute match between two guys that you don't know. We're all wrestling fans. We all started in the same place. Whether we make it to WWE or we make it to the top of the top of the top, it doesn't matter. We all started sitting in front of the TV or sitting at a live event, being inspired by somebody that we saw in the ring and knowing that that is what we wanted. Whether we wanted to do it for ourselves or we wanted to do it for, to be a fan forever or whatever the case may be, that is the draw. That is the meaning of what we call the entertainment business in professional wrestling. I'll forever be a fan. I want fans of me to know that I'm just like them. That's why I call my fans the sideshow freaks, strictly because we're all freaks in our own special way. We're all freaks in our own special way. But the fact is I'm just as much of a fanboy or a fangirl as every single other person sitting out there. But I get to help you live your dream through me, just as I live mine through others. Point blank.
Yeah, that's amazing, because as me, a fan, I always tell everybody, go to the shows, go to the shows, go to the shows. Because for me, that is an hour, 2 hours of what I'm watching to where I forget about everything else. If I'm going through something and I go, I forget about everything else and I'm entertained and I enjoy what I'm seeing.
Yep. Yeah. That's part of, I'm a big fan, and I've always told everybody, even new wrestlers that I've helped in the past couple of years that just started after me, pay it forward. Pay it forward. Because just like you said, I was that fan sitting in the audience, needing that escape, needing that moment of clarity, knowing that when this match is over and this show the last bell has rang and it's time for everybody to get back in their car and go back to their normal 9 to 5 or their normal life of all the craziness that's going on in their life. It is my job as an entertainer to pay that forward. I've got to come out there and I want to give you those moments. I want to give you that excitement to where the last thing that you're worried about is that bill being late or that trouble you're facing at home or whatever the case may be, your job being this, that, and the other. It doesn't matter, because during the moment that we're together, during the moment that we have locked eyes and that we have set, me in the ring, you as a fan, the moment that we share has taken you out of your own element, because the world exists in the wrestling world and the world exists outside, and they don't coincide. They don't mix. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's your moment. I'm helping you live your dream through me. And that's what I want.
That's great. That's great words. That's great words. And like I said before, and you do that. You do that. I mean, just from what we've seen, and there's so many that do. And like Nick said, as I said a bit earlier, I'm not big on clowns, but Ali, we would get along great, good sir.
Well, I'm glad you think that. And I never, ever, ever shun anyone. I always take time to meet every person that wants to meet me, because in all reality, I'm just an average Joe myself. But the fact is, I always see these kids. I always see these fans. I always see these people walking up to me and telling me, they're glad I'm doing what I'm doing. They're happy to see me doing what I'm doing. They wish they could, this, that, and the other. And even if it doesn't pertain to wrestling, I'm like, look, like I said earlier, I can't live for you and you can't live for me. If you have a dream of being a NASCAR driver, if you've got a dream of being an astronaut, if you've got a dream of being a musician, whatever that is, if you see it in your heart and in your soul to do it, by all means, there is no words big enough to stop you from chasing the dream that you want to chase. If I can be that little bit of inspiration that you need to succeed in whatever it is you want to do in your life, then by all means, allow me to tell you, you can do it. That's every fan. It doesn't matter if it's wrestling or not.
I was getting ready to ask you if you had any advice for like Destiny, where she's just starting, and then you're sitting there saying this, and I'm like, well, there you go.
I'm just saying, I've done podcasts and I've done interviews and things like that, but the fact is it takes a little while to open up. It does. It takes a little while to get comfortable in front of the camera. It does, especially when you don't know the person you're sitting across from. But the fact is that only should, intrigue you more, because I'm not here to judge. You're not here to judge. We're only here to get to know each other. We're only here to broaden our spectrum of fans out there, to let them know who we are as people.
Yes.
Okay? And when it comes down to it, the more you interview, the more comfortable you'll be. The more your podcast grows, the more comfortable you'll be. Just as me, my very first match, your very first match is going to be nerve-wracking. I promise. I promise. But after that first cheer, after that first time of getting that chant going, that hype going, I promise it's going to speak to your soul, and you'll know right then whether you want to make it a long-term thing or if it's going to be short-lived. Because your heart and your soul will know exactly what those fans can see. If you believe it and you believe in yourself, then you give them no opportunity not to. So you've got this. I promise you'll do great. Just believe in you. That's all that matters.
Thank you.
You are very, very welcome.
So have you ever thought about taking a side job as an inspirational speaker?
Like I said, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do this, but my ultimate goal is to one day have my own school, have my own training school. Because what I'm doing now, like I said, I want to pay it forward. I want everything that I'm learning now and the people that I'm meeting now and the connections that I'm making and the things that I'm doing, I want to be able to pass that on to the next generation of wrestlers that have the same passion and the same dream and the same drive that I've got. If I can meet someone for the very first time and I can see something inside their heart that others can't see because I've got the same thing, I can follow what they're doing in their mind by chasing this dream without even speaking to them, because I can watch their work. I can watch them in the ring and I can see, look, that guy's in it for the long haul. That girl's in it for the long haul, strictly because they're not doing this like this could be their last match. You see some wrestlers that start like this is it for them. They're coming out there, they're giving their one last, they're doing it for the limelight purposes. They're doing it to be able to tell people, hey, I'm a professional wrestler. And that's cool to have on a resume, don't get me wrong. But, this isn't just a night and day thing for me. This shouldn't be for anybody getting into the wrestling business. This is something that I want my great grandkids to talk about. And I think everybody should have that same drive, that same momentum. So.
Wow. You really get just thinking, more in depth, than the average person just thinks about, man, they're awesome. And they have a lineage and, like the Flairs and the Von Erichs. And, you think
Right.
about that
Right.
You never think that behind their mind and their heart, of why they wanted it to continue.
That's why I've explained to multiple people across multiple different promotions, they're always talking about winning belts and winning belts and winning belts and winning belts and winning belts. And I'm like, look, belts come and belts go.
Yeah.
It's not meant for anybody to be champion forever. Yeah, you may have it on the resume, you were such and such world champion. But the fact is, how many people can you say that you inspired to follow their dream and get into the same business that you love willing? How many people can you say, did you just chase a title or did you chase a dream? Big difference. Big, big difference.
That is a huge difference. That is a huge difference. It's like saying, do you want to have a kid for the attention or do you want to raise them? Yeah.
That facts. And that's the same exact vibe. Yes. I mean, we know there's a billion different Facebook parents out there. You know, they only have their kids and they put them on Facebook and this, that, and the other because they're the best parent in the world. But outside in reality, it's all for clout.
Yeah.
It's all for clout. But like I said 1,000 times before, this is not something that I decided to do. This is something I was born to do. Wrestling aside, I wanted to entertain. I wanted to show people that you can do more than what you think in your mind. You can do more than what people say you can do. You can be more than what people say you are. Because those people that are talking, the ones that say you'll never amount to anything, are the ones that never chase the dreams themselves. So regardless if you make it or not, the fact that you gave it a shot, that you took that risk and you gave it a real shot, means you've already stepped 10 miles over everything that they've done and everything they said you couldn't. So be the best you can be. That's all that matters.
Shoo, get me shouting over here.
Just say.
So good. It's so good. I mean, it's so much truth. You know, Nick Morningstar again even said 100% preach it. You know, I mean, follow your dreams, follow your goals. Don't let those little voices that say you can't do it, you'll never be anything, don't let them stop you. You know, keep pushing forward, keep going.
Yeah.
We don't want to keep you all night, although we could sit here and talk to you all night. We don't want to do that. But tell everybody again, like your social media handles and where they can see you coming up.
Well, I've got 2 shows back to back in February. I've got one on the 10th, which is this weekend, CCW in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Classic Championship Wrestling in Fort Smith this weekend, this Saturday, going against the Gatekeeper, one of my all-time biggest rivals. And then on the 24th, I'll be at Outlaw Wrestling Society in Mount Vernon, Alabama, opening up a new state for the Barker. But as far as my social media handles, you can catch me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it, I got it. And you can just Google Rika Wildlee, and I'm pretty sure all of it will pop up because I've done the research, and I'm the only Rika Wildlee out there. Yeah. So with that said, thank you, everybody, for having me on. What does this comment say? That's why I came out of retirement after 9 years, legacy 13 years as an active wrestler, 9 years off and 8 months returned, not only for me, but to show the kids that I have done and what I can do. Inspiration, brother. Inspiration. That's all that matters, dude. You are inspiring the next generation of wrestlers. That is what it's about. It's not about what you're doing now. It's about what you're going to do in the future, because I am living my dream through another wrestler of yesteryear. And one day somebody else will live their dream through me. And that is what is paying it forward, giving back. That is what it's about. And I'm so glad to be a part of that amazing journey.
And thank you so much for taking us on your journey and letting us know a little more about you and who you are And we will even be sharing more about you, telling more people about you. You all go check him out. Check out his social medias. Rika Wildlee.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. If you're close to where he might be, in Arkansas and Alabama, go check him out.
Yes. Yes.
And we do want to mention our sponsor, Rebel Cloth. Thank you so much once again for being our sponsor. He makes awesome merch. He makes t-shirts. Y'all check him out as well. And go check out of the Box Sports Network too. And this is Cindy and Destiny once again. Keep It Real Podcast. And Rika Wildlee, thank you again so much. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.